Have you ever caught yourself imagining an argument that never happened, a relationship that doesn't exist, or becoming famous, rich, or admired while you're simply sitting alone in your room? Maybe you've created entire conversations inside your head, laughed at something that only happened in your imagination, or replayed the same fantasy hundreds of times. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of people spend hours inside imaginary worlds every single day. For some, it's harmless daydreaming. For others, those fantasies become so addictive that real life starts feeling disappointing. So why does the brain become attached to fake scenarios? And when does imagination stop being healthy and start becoming a problem? Let's explore the fascinating psychology behind it. Part 1. Your brain can't always tell the difference. Your brain is surprisingly easy to fool. When you imagine something vividly, many of the same brain regions activate as when you're actually experiencing it. That's why imagining your favorite meal can make you hungry. Thinking about an embarrassing moment can make your heart race. And imagining someone you love can trigger genuine feelings of happiness. Your brain rewards detailed imagination with real emotions. In a way, your imagination becomes a virtual reality simulator. The more realistic the fantasy, the more rewarding it feels. Part 2. Dopamine loves fantasy. Every time you imagine achieving your biggest dreams, your brain releases a small burst of dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical involved in motivation, anticipation, and reward. The exciting part isn't always getting what you want. Sometimes it's imagining that you'll get it. This is why people repeatedly imagine becoming successful, winning an argument, finding true love, or getting revenge. Each fantasy provides a temporary emotional reward. Eventually, the brain begins craving those imaginary rewards. Part 3. Escaping reality. Life isn't always exciting. There are bills, stress, loneliness, disappointment, responsibilities. Your imagination offers something reality often doesn't: control. Inside your mind, you decide what happens. Nobody rejects you. Nobody interrupts you. Nobody tells you you're not good enough. Everything happens exactly how you want. Compared to that, real life can feel frustrating. Part 4. The comfort zone of imaginary conversations. Have you ever practiced conversations before they happen? That's completely normal, but some people take it much further. They spend hours imagining future arguments, perfect romantic moments, or becoming the hero in impossible situations. These imaginary conversations provide emotional comfort. Your brain starts treating them like emotional rehearsal. Eventually, the rehearsals become more enjoyable than real interactions. Part 5. Why lonely people daydream more. Loneliness changes the brain. Humans are social creatures. When emotional needs aren't met, the brain often creates substitutes: imaginary friendships, imaginary relationships, imaginary versions of people who always understand you. It's the brain's attempt to fill emotional gaps, not because you're weak, but because your mind is trying to protect you from emotional pain. Part 6. Social media makes it worse. Social media constantly shows perfect lives, luxury, beauty, popularity, success. Your brain compares your ordinary life to everyone's highlight reel. That comparison creates dissatisfaction. Imagination steps in to close the gap. You picture yourself living the perfect life, receiving endless attention, having the ideal relationship. Each fantasy feels better than scrolling through reality. Part the perfection trap. Real life is messy. People disappoint you. Plans fail. Mistakes happen. But imaginary worlds are perfect. Every conversation goes exactly right. Everyone admires you. Everything works out. Because perfection doesn't exist in reality, the brain keeps returning to fantasy. Part 9. Childhood can shape adult fantasies.
Many people who frequently escape into imaginary worlds started doing it as children. Sometimes it was boredom, sometimes loneliness, sometimes family conflict, sometimes bullying. Imagination became a safe place, a private world where they finally felt accepted. Years later, the habit remains, not because they choose it, but because the brain learned it as a coping strategy. Part 10. When it becomes maladaptive daydreaming. Psychologists use the term maladaptive daydreaming to describe extremely immersive daydreaming that begins interfering with daily life. Although it's not officially recognized as a standalone mental disorder in major diagnostic manuals, researchers continue studying it. Warning signs may include spending several hours every day in fantasy, struggling to focus on work or school, preferring imaginary relationships to real ones, feeling upset when interrupted while daydreaming, wanting to stop but finding it difficult. If this sounds familiar, it doesn't automatically mean someone has maladaptive daydreaming, but it may be worth reflecting on how much it's affecting daily life. Part 11. Breaking the cycle. The goal isn't to stop imagining. Imagination is one of humanity's greatest strengths. It inspires art, science, innovation, creativity. The problem begins when imagination replaces living. One helpful approach is noticing what your fantasies are trying to give you: connection, success, confidence, adventure. Instead of only imagining those experiences, look for small, real-life ways to build them. Reality may be slower than fantasy, but it can become far more meaningful. Conclusion. The mind creates fake scenarios for many reasons. Sometimes it's creativity. Sometimes it's hope. Sometimes it's a way of coping with stress, loneliness, or disappointment. Imagining another life doesn't make you strange. It's part of being human. But if those imagined worlds become more appealing than your real one, it may be a sign that your mind is asking for something your life is missing. And perhaps the greatest challenge isn't creating a better world in your head. It's building one you don't want to escape from. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications for more fascinating psychology content. And here's a question for you. What's the longest fake scenario you've ever created in your mind? Let us know in the comments below.